Some have called it the precious metal. And if you follow development on the international market, when you look at the price of gold, Bloomberg is quoting more than $3,000 an ounce. But for looking at the fact that the price of this metal has been rising over the past month on the international market, there is push as a country to get more from the sector. Some have been saying that let's take a second look at the whole mining agreement for some of these firms in the country. And what about those who also arguing that in terms of taxes, they should be paying more? Well, are these arguments well grounded, or maybe they're just based on sentiments that are not well educated? Well, on PM Express Business Edition, you look at the rising prices of gold on the international market and the push by stakeholders and even some government officials that we should be getting more from this sector as a country. Well, indeed, I'm grateful enough to have the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Ahmed Ntogma. I hope I got the name right, of course. And it's a good opportunity to have you on PMS Business Edition, and also not be out of place to say congratulations on your promotion as acting CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. I mean, let's look at first the industry right now. How is the industry doing?
Thank you, George, and it's once again good to talk to you. I said the industry is doing quite well. Like you said in your intro, where the gold prices are, nobody in the industry can say we are not doing quite well just based on the gold price alone. So I think the industry is on an even keel and we are doing well.
Would I be wrong if I say that indeed it is a good time to be a mining firm or to operate in this space? Because of, let's look at even the whole production line in terms of mining, procurement, and all those things.
Yeah, so I know you can say that, but you know, a mining firm is as good as the suppliers and all those the procurement people. That, so all of them are in the mine. It's not just the company itself, but all the supply chain people are all doing well. Because when the mine is doing good, then the suppliers also do good. So everybody in the value chain, including the state as well, is doing good. Because whilst the gold price goes up, I mean, the revenue, the royalties based on revenue. So royalties also go up. So I think mining firms, companies, and the value chain, as well as the state, they're all doing well now.
I'll be coming back for some explanation for those who might beg to differ on this whole argument about how the state is benefiting from what is happening. But again, also help me, because in the past I've heard some mining companies push this argument that yes, gold prices are rising, but also the cost of production is going up. So help me out, if an ounce is going for maybe some 101, if an ounce is going for more than $3,000 or $3,303, what are some of the costs, not getting very to the actual, the cost component for someone to say that, you know, whilst you celebrate the rising price, let's also look at the cost of production for every ounce of gold for a mining firm?
Well, look at costs include fuel, like diesel. You know, mining companies use a lot of diesel. So if diesel prices go up, then mining companies' costs go up. It's the energy cost as well also goes up. So all these are part of the thing that we say that they rise with the flow. I mean, you and I in Ghana, you see how the prices go up. And mining companies also pay for this diesel in dollars. So there's a relationship between the increasing price and the increasing cost. But that's not to say that the cost is increasing the same way as the price, but still there's a cost increment that goes along with this price increment. Everybody's looking at it, and all the vendors are saying, oh, gold price is good. So they keep tweaking their cost here and there, which you have to manage. So it's a whole value that everybody's benefiting and clamoring for more based just on the gold price.
No, so I get from you that whilst the price is going up, there are also some suppliers who are also now pushing for their agreement to be reviewed because they think that you are getting more. But some will say that the agreement with you, if you have a mining firm, was it pegged on the price of the precious metal, or it was pegged on the ability of that mining firm to pay for me for the services that I'm rendering?
So it's all factored into it, because if you are a contract miner for a company, you base on the ounce of gold, the price. You said, okay, because the price like that, then I can't charge a certain amount. But when the price goes up, then you feel that, look, there's a little leeway that has come. You also want to benefit. So that's so everybody looks at it that way. So it might not be fixed, but then when the change comes, you want to get more. So
and is that the situation as we speak right now, where some suppliers have started pushing for a review of agreement because of
yes,
what is happening.
A lot of suppliers are talking to mining companies, trying to look to review the price, because they also say that their vendors and their suppliers also say, look, where you are selling your product to, they are doing good, so ask for more, and they're asking for more. So all this will be negotiated. You understand? You ask for more, it's negotiated, and an agreement is reached. So those things are part of the mining process. You get some here, you manage some here, but it's just to keep the business going, and they all are in it and together. So the gold price is good. It's good for everybody in the value chain.
There are certain stakeholders in this industry who have pushed for more in terms of the taxes that you should be paying, and it has not rest only with the stakeholders, even for some government officials as well. And we've seen the development tax that has also been pushed as well. What do you first look at? Let's look at the general public first. Maybe for government, you would argue that they understand and appreciate some of your challenges. Let's look at those who are in the civil society space, the academia and others, who are saying that the host country, the country Ghana, should be getting more from your members because of what is happening to the price of gold on the international market.
Well, it's okay to ask for more, but it has to be balanced. Because how much is more, and how much do you think?
Pay more in terms of taxes.
Well, how much
in terms
is
of
more?
revenue?
Yes. So
if you're paying 4%, how much you pay about maybe 5% or even 6%
so that's to say
or 10%, right?
It has to be looked at across, because it's not all mining companies that are making a lot of money. Some were actually barely surviving, and because the gold price has now increased a bit, they're able to manage. So you have to discuss. That's why mining companies are not averse to paying taxes or supporting the host countries to get more, but it's based on discussions, understanding where they come from, where you want to go, and see how you can work together. What companies usually are nervous about is the suddenness of the change. Supposing that you know that royalties is 5%, you're paying royalties of 5%. The gold price has gone up. Government wants to increase the royalties. You can be engaged. So we see that. Then you can look at the whole thing and see that how much percent should I add? Should it just be royalty that I need to tweak? Should I look at something else? So companies are open to discussions on that, because gold prices is volatile. So can you imagine you put so much on it, on the taxes, and the prices drop? Are you going to start removing the taxes? As I say, you need to be careful how fast you go and how high you push. Otherwise, in the end, what you want to get, you might not get. Because look, the more you tax companies, it might affect reinvestment. It might affect a lot of profit. And once it affects profit, then companies are not able to get more. And then once companies are not getting more, they can't pay the money that you want. So it's something that you need to discuss.
So you have to
be specific as to what exactly that you are looking at, so that companies can also be clear in their mind and they can work along with the state.
Do you think that the current fiscal regime and the current push could discourage fresh investment in this sector, as well as even the performance of the mining companies?
When you say push, it's what?
Because first, government has already went ahead to place this new tax that was announced by the finance.
So let's talk about the GSL. The Gross Sustainability Levy.
Yeah.
Government plays it on all mining companies. Yeah. So I realize that not all mining companies are in gold, right? So gold mining companies, and not all gold mining companies were in the profit situation anyway. So you have to look at them according to their specific position. Is it a new mine? Has it just started? Is it a matured mine? Is it a declining mine? We have some mining companies who were producing a lot at a higher cost. So you have to look at them as well and say, okay, you are not in that value chain or in that position. What can we do together? We understand the government needs to make more, but then it has to be open and transparent. Otherwise, in trying to make more, you might end up not making at all, because people get apprehensive. And people are nervous about how it is. So it's the nature of the nature of the demand, and the dialogue around all that will make it transparent and sustainable for everybody.
Have you started already paying the tax? I don't know whether it was the fiscal year for it to begin. Have you started paying that?
Yeah, some of the companies have started paying.
Some?
Though, yes, because you see, like I said, some have agreements. You see, those who have agreements, they are insulated from
the stability agreement.
Yes, exactly. And those who don't have agreements, they have to pay. So if they are in the current situation, they can pay. And those who are not, like the FGRs, like some other smaller companies who are barely making it, they cannot pay. So they will have to renegotiate. So it's a good thing that we have a dialogue with the Ministry of Finance. And they understand the situation of each company. So based on your situation, they will work out the tax as it suits you. But those with the stability agreement as well, there's been a discussion with them as well. And I think they are open to discussions and see how as a company, they can work together with the host nation to make sure that, look, the host nation benefits from the mineral resources that it has.
Mr. Nandoma, some will say that, how is your positioning or your position for renegotiation or second look strengthened or weakened when you have some of your members that have started already paying these taxes?
No, but like I said, the members are, they are different categories.
Yeah, but some already
some don't have agreements at all.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any stability agreement with government, then you have to pay. It's tax.
Yeah.
And once it's passed, it's law. You have to be seen to obey the law. That's why some of them are doing it. It might be affecting them, but they have to be responsible companies by paying the taxes and engaging the taxman as to, look, we have this, we are willing to pay, but this is our challenge, so that you have to make an attempt. That's what I'm saying. Those who don't have it, I mean, if you don't pay, it becomes an illegality, and we don't want many companies to be seen to be illegal. That's why I'm saying that they will make all the efforts that they can to pay because it is the law. But we're saying in the general picture, in the wider perspective, from other people looking in from outside who want to bring money into Ghana, there need to be some transparency, some consistency, some dialogue around all that, so that everybody knows that when I go, if I have an agreement, if I don't have an agreement, there's still a way to be able to meet the tax obligation without jeopardizing the hen that is laying that eggs. Because if the company is not able to manage its finances very well, and it goes into a debt situation, that you even get the GSL in the first place. So it's even in the interest of government to help companies to be in a tax-paying position so that they can pay.
Mr. Thomas, if I am a government, a minister of finance, and I'm seeing some of your members already started paying this, I will ward of any argument or justification to appreciate your argument that some of your members are not doing well, or this tax would affect fresh capital in this space.
Yeah, but I'm saying that
you could have registered your protest by not paying.
No, but then it's an illegality. So you want to register a protest by doing an illegal act? Are you asking the companies to be illegal? No, we can't ask our companies to be illegal. We want you to be legal. We want you to be a responsible company. Do what you can do, but work with the taxman. You understand? So those who cannot pay at all, I'm not sure they are able to pay, because look, you look at their books and realize that, look, in this situation, these companies are not able to pay. This company is in a situation to pay. It has this challenge. How can we work with it? These companies, they have agreements with government, which insulates them from those things. But government still needs the revenue from even those companies. That's why there's a one-on-one discussion on them. See, look, chief, or company A, we know that you have an agreement with us, but the state needs more money, as you can see. How can we work together? This is the tax that has come. How can we work together to make sure that we don't breach the agreement, but also to ensure that government gets its fair share of what it thinks it needs? So I think those are different. There are different groupings within the chamber. It's not just one company. There are different groupings at different stages of production and at different levels of maturity. So the new ones, those are just coming up, they are not even in the profit-making situation. So how would they be able to pay when they haven't made extra money? You see? And those who are in decline, they're already declining. How would they be able to pay? It's those who are matured and okay, and then they are the companies that are able to pay. So each group of member has their specific challenges, and that's why we say that, look, there should be dialogue with these companies so that we arrive at the same situation without affecting the state and without also affecting the company negatively.
Do you foresee a situation where some of your members, per this negotiation, will be exempted from paying the tax, one, because of their current situation, or a situation where government will say that after the negotiations with the Ghana Chamber of Mines, we are freezing this tax?
It's possible. Because like I said,
is that what you are looking for?
No, we are looking for transparency and honesty and dialogue. So if after all the books, and you as a government realize that, oh yeah, what it makes sense, then that's it. Because we're not just asking government, we're not just pushing back for pushing back's sake. We're not even pushing back at all. We're just saying that, look, let's engage. Let's look inward. Let's see. You have a hen that's laying you eggs. You believe that the hen has a lot more eggs than it is laying. Would you kill the hen and just go for the eggs that are inside, or you help the hen to eat more and grow bigger and grow more eggs? That's what we're saying. So let's have a dialogue. Let's sit down with these companies, understand their peculiar situations, and see how you can even help them along the line, maybe stagger it, or maybe reduce it for this one, or maybe all those things. But that would be based on government accepting that there's really a challenge with these companies. So that's why some can pay, others are not paying.
What do you tell those who would argue that it always appears that some of the mining firms are kind of averse to payment of taxes when they look at the numbers and they feel that, yes, we had a previous agreement with you, all right, but we think that looking at what is happening on the global market, maybe you can pay more. The posturing, the pushback sometimes sends the signal that when it comes to taxes, the mining firms would want to push and lessen their tax obligations to the state?
So I think that it's not like pushback, we don't want to pay. It's just a caution as a chamber. You know that mining is very, very capital intensive. And mining capital can go anywhere, anyhow. So if we want to be a good jurisdiction for mining, as Ghana is the leading gold producer, then these things we must be cautious in it. Like I always say, we understand the need for the state, everybody to ask for more. But it should be in such a way that it will be sustainable. Otherwise, in your rush to take the money, if you take the money and the company is not able to recapitalize, what happens the next 2 years? Where will that money come from? Because the government is not going to bail the company out. It's because the company is doing well. That is why it's in a tax-paying situation. So we are supposed to work with the company to continue to do well, rather than just come knee-jerk or I'm government. I have all the authority, so I'll take it. I take like a landlord and a tenant situation. You are paying all your rent, your everything, your utilities, you are paying. But landlord sees that your business is doing well. He wants more. He needs to engage you in dialogue. Otherwise, if you just come on down today, I've increased the rent just because I think you are wearing a new shoe, it doesn't send a good signal. Someone say, hey, is that what is going to happen? Is that what is happening in Ghana? No, we just want dialogue with the mining companies. They're open to dialogue. And then we can then show you that this is what it is. This way, it can be done this way. It cannot be done that way. This is good for us because we're looking for sustainable development, sustainability of the industry, in order for government to get the taxes in a sustainable manner.
Otherwise, you think this new development tax then is not sustainable because of the premise of the tax, that tomorrow if gold prices should drop to about $1,000 an ounce, then where does this tax play? Going forward, do you think that it is not sustainable?
No, I mean...
or it is bound to fail, if I can use that expression?
It depends. I say gold is a volatile commodity. So anything can happen. It can drop.
Yeah.
The gold prices can drop to, let's say, 2,500 or 2,200. And then you have this based on revenue. So, and this tax that we're saying, it is a levy. It's not something that you can even claw back. So even before you start work, you have to pay that money upfront. So if you have a capital of maybe 100 million cedis, you want to invest in the mine in order to work and make money profit at the end of the day, government is saying that give me 3% upfront even before you start your work. So if the 3% will affect your work, it means that already you are going to be affected at the end. We're hoping that the government would have put this on the profit. So the more profit you make, then you can see that, look, you have made enough profit, you have done this, there's a gap between this, let's take from there. But government is taking this money up front. That is where the fear is. For instance, you've got up in the morning, like let's say you're a waiter and then you are going to work. Sometimes they give the waiters money to go and as they sell. But the taxman says that, look, even before you sell to make the profit, give me 3% of that. So if at the end of the day, the money is not enough for you to run your company in that year, what happens? Any day you run at a loss. And if you run at a loss, then you'll be able to pay your corporate tax, you will be able to pay your employees, then you start scaling down on so many things, which will affect the tax in the long term. So we say caution, dialogue, transparency. Mining companies are willing to support. We do support a lot. We do community development. We pay all kinds of things that just to support. But then we say that if we are consulted, then we are all part of it. We understand what it is. We are all open to pay our fair share of the taxes.
Some will say that then it raises a lot of questions about the level of consultation. Do I get from you? And I had this thing before that, is it true that the chamber was not engaged before government announced this tax in the budget?
Like you said, you've heard it before. Government, like I said, I mean, in the name of transparency.
You just heard it on radio or just the budget, just like how we all...
So chamber was engaged a day prior to the budget.
A day to the budget.
A day, indicating that the government wants to tweak the GSL. So the quantum and the duration, apart from the quantum, the duration has also been extended. It was supposed to have expired, I think, this year or something. It's been taken to 2028. So we are told that the government is looking at GSL because the state needs money. And we understand that the state needs money. So there will be a tweak of the GSL, that's the Growth and Sustainability Levy. So how high or how long, we're not actually told. So the next day is when we had the 3% slapped on mining companies. That's just wait a minute, 3%? How? Why? That's where everybody started talking and people think it's a pushback. It's not a pushback. Maybe if they had consulted if we had a long time to discuss it, but we can understand it's a new government, there was no time, the budget had to be read. But if there were time, we could have said, okay, is it 3%? Is it the optimum? Will 3% yield you more, or maybe 1%, but then everybody will be able to pay and you get more? So that's why we're saying that. In the discussions, you see, that will bring out all the other alternatives. And then based on that, we can have a sustainable, acceptable way, and then everybody will be paying.
Let's move away from the government and the stakeholders.
Yeah.
And let's come to some of your host community as well. While these prices do go up, there are some in your space, and even the several NGOs that have also argued that they still feel that whilst we all celebrate these ballooning prices, the host community is not getting more. I know there's a moral argument, and then there's an argument about we've paid our taxes to the state, so, I mean, why do you hold us responsible for the community? What do you also tell those who are saying that whilst the prices go up, whilst we see gold firms doing well, there was a report recently in the dailies about a mining firm making over 700 jump in profit since last year. The host community as well. Do you think that these criticisms are well justified when they say that if George mining firm is mining somewhere in Mantima and KBN, or the conditions in those areas are nothing to write home about?
I like the part you said there's a more argument that, look, development is in the hands of the state.
Yeah.
So that's true. But mining companies do a lot in their communities. You go to some communities and the schools there, the hospitals there are run by mining companies. You understand? So, you know, the mining company cannot do everything. And meanwhile, like you said, when the royalties are paid, they are supposed to return some to their host communities and the district assemblies and the palaces to use for development. The question we ask is, are they being used for that development? For example, if there's a 1 kilometer road in town and there's a whole assembly that gets mineral royalties, I mean, why would the assembly go back to Go Force and say, come and do the road for me? Go Force did a road in the over 33 kilometer road that they did. They did it for the community. Everybody's using it. And we are saying that. So that's why we're also asking for a law, you see, an act or a law that will regulate the utilization of mineral royalties. We know that there's one in the Petroleum Revenue Management.
Yeah.
Why can't we do something for mining? For Mineral Revenue Management Act or law that will specify what you can use mineral royalties for. So that when it comes back to the community or the host assembly, they don't use it to pay salaries or recurrent expenditure. For instance, if the law stipulates that, look, mineral royalties can be used for only health, education, and sanitation or whatever, then when it comes, you are bound by law to use it for. Otherwise, it goes to the community and nobody knows where it enters. If you look at Obuasi, with Obuasi itself, with the company there, I think a lot of royalties are supposed to come back. The question is, do they come back? And if they do, what are they being used for? So that the question will ask of the mining companies, but also be asked about the development authorities. And let's see that how we can work together and make sure that the royalties are targeted. Otherwise, you will complain and complain that the communities are not developed. And the one thing is about town and country planning. Like Ahafo, like other places, you know, if the town is not properly planned, it's not the job of the mining company to make the street straight or to build skyscrapers. No. Mineral revenues stay in Accra. There was a recent study that says that 80% of mineral revenues are in the center. They're in Accra. And that's where they used to develop the whole of Ghana. So Ghana is developing on the back of mining. But for mining, Ghana will not be where we are. So if you single out a local community and you blame the mining company in that community, well, you might have a point, but you also have to blame the people responsible for development. What are they using the mineral royalties for? That come back, whether in the state level or the local level. What do you use it for? Then we can have a better picture and say that, okay, maybe the revenue going back is small. Should we increase it? Should we tie it to specific projects? And that's what we think should be done. Those days you have a project, say EU-funded project or HIPIC-funded project. Have you ever seen a mineral royalty-funded project? You don't. But is the money not there? It's there. So sometimes we just create the impression that mining companies are not paying enough, and then we keep harassing them. Meanwhile, the monies that they give us, how do we account for it?
I bring back this question, and the moral argument I want to raise is that for you yourself, yes, about where the money is being moved and all the rest, but as a mine in that host community, are you happy when you see some of the conditions in that community, when you have paid your dues as in taxes and all the rest? And I stand to be educated and corrected that yes, you've done the projects and the corporate social responsibility as well, but you look at parts of Obuasi, you look at some areas as well, and if you want to do that comparison of Joburg and the argument about whether everything comes to Joburg, we cannot celebrate when we look at the moral argument about the states of mining communities in Ghana.
But you see, Joburg wasn't developed on the back of mining.
Okay, fine.
But I also already told you that.
So let's come back to Ghana.
80% of mineral revenue stays in Accra.
Okay.
So as Accra and other places are developed on the back of mining. It's mining revenue that comes into the country. That is used for that. Obuasi until recent, the roads of Obuasi have now been done.
No.
Yes, they've been done.
Not the, I mean,
growing
up, I knew Obuasi as...
Yes, but they've been done by the state. And the Obuasi roads are good. Government has done.
It took quite a long time for that to be done.
Yes. So now you go to Obuasi and the roads are okay. Will they give credit to a mining company? They will not.
But again, bring back the indictment issue here.
Yeah, but then, like I said, the assembly that gets the royalty. What do you say for? The mining companies do roads. They do build hospitals. They build schools. But just so much they can do. Just so much they can do. Look, over 22 billion cedis or thereabout for the past 10 years have been spent by mining companies in host communities to do all kinds of social responsibility. Look, we do scholarships, we build universities, we build schools, we provide sanitation, all that, just to supplement what government is doing. So if the road is bad, even the employees of the companies, we all use the same road. And we all see it. But then it is not the duty of the mining companies to develop, unless, of course, we want to say that, okay, now we give you authority, do the road and offset it against your rights. Unless we want to do something like that. Otherwise, there will always be this gap about communities not doing well, not looking good. But then the blame shouldn't be, it's easy to blame the mining company. It's easy. What about communities that don't have mines, that are not looking good? Who do you blame? And they don't even have royalties. You go to Takwa, I tell you that the per capita income in Takwa, it might be higher than per capita income in Cape Coast. Cape is the regional capital. Yeah. If you go to Takwa, the infrastructure might be more than Cape. But who is helping the mining companies say that this is on the back of mining? So there has to be strategic planning of our communities. Look, if you have a community development plan, and this is how we want the community to look like in the next 4, 5, 10 years, and as a mining company, we want you to buy into it, so that as part of your CSR or as part of your taxes, we can channel them. Something that can be done. MOUs can be signed. If you want the mining company to do a road, because it can say, look, so do the road, and then later you can take it off your... All this is dialogue. I'm saying dialogue is we need to be able to, rather than just sit down and blame and blame.
Should we enter into that space where you can go ahead and do some of these projects in your host community and it will be returned taken out of your tax obligations?
We do PPPs
to the state.
There's a PPP. Why don't you get PPP to some of the mines?
Should we go that way?
I'm not government. I don't know.
Will you propose that to government?
I don't know yet. But it's
the chamber is quite strong. Some are saying that you could push that to government.
It's possible that we could look at.
But are you going to do that?
After dialoguing with government, if government is so inclined, we can say that, okay, a company is willing to do the road. It costs maybe, we know that, I think somebody say it costs about $1 million to do an average 1 kilometer of asphalt or something. So if a company if a 10-kilometer road, that's about $10 million. How can you, if the company is willing and able to do? It's not all companies that are able. It's willing and able to do. Can you say, okay, do the road, $10 million, let's offset it over this lifespan or less than. It's something that can be discussed and looked at. But then we cannot push that into government. But if the government brings that idea up, it can be, look, we've done cocoa roads. I mean, where did the money come from? Why don't you do mining roads? And we know that mining even brings more revenue than cocoa. So you see, the pension to just blame mining companies, blame it on the rain, everything mining companies' fault. No. I mean, we have to also look within ourselves and see what is it that we can do together with mining companies, instead of just saying tax. No, tax alone will not develop us and might not be sustainable. If you tax and tax and tax, it's the point that the person doesn't become profitable. So you are getting this tax. Now you have to start laying off workers. You have to reduce reinvestment. Where's the lifespan? So we have to be more innovative in our
Mr. Nantomo, when I come back, I'll be looking at the people as well, because there's also been this argument about whether or what is in place for those who are in the host community when it comes to the people and the implications on mining rights, galamsey, and even look at what gold is also doing for Ghana City right now. This is PM Express Business Edition, engaging the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Nanktok Togma, on developments in the mining space and the push by stakeholders, government, for more revenue from this mining sector. This is PM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition at a time when the price of gold has been soaring on the international market. According to Bloomberg quotes today, is going for $3,303 an ounce. And when people see these things on the international market, there's a clamor for more from these mining firms. I'm engaged in the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Mr. Ahmed Natongma, to get his thoughts on these concerns about the rising prices and whether indeed the time is right to get more from the mining companies. Let's come to the people aspect as well. I'll share a story with an individual who had a first degree. He actually lived in a mining company, a mining vicinity or community. He had applied through all the means. He was not getting employed by the mining company. He raised concerns about the fact that as an indigenous, well-qualified mining person to work in that space, he saw people coming from outside to work with a mining company. What do you also make of that concern that most of the indigenous locals as well have not had the opportunity as well to work in this space? And it leads to my next question that I'll come to.
Well, George, that's an interesting question. You know, from the onset, we know the mining companies cannot employ everybody. Yeah. There's only a limit to the number they can employ. That's why initially I said that for the past 10 years, companies have spent on the average of $20 million a year on CSR, building other schools and training apprenticeships. So companies have apprenticeship training as well. So they will train you, give you the skill, and then you can go out there. Those they can absorb, they do absorb. And I use Newmont Ahafo, for instance. If you go to Newmont Ahafo, 42% of the workforce are indigenous. And they are employed through indigenous groups, through the chiefs, through opinion leaders. So they bring indigenous, they train them, and they employ them, right? So the other percent, some come from within the region, and some come from within Ghana. So the individual, I don't know what job, what position he was looking for. But then also mining companies have mine support services. If you go to all the contractors, or most of the contractors are local people, are indigenous, doing the roads, providing. So they also employ a lot of people. So if you are working for a mining contractor for Newmont, then indirectly you are being employed by Newmont because Newmont pays the contractor to pay you. So we can't employ everybody. There's no company in the world that can employ everybody. Definitely some will get, some will not get. And if employed also based on merit, maybe the person was not the most qualified. So that's what I'm saying, that mining companies do their best. Indigenous, local employment, what we call local employment. You've heard the phrase before. Local is people from within the local community. So once you are a local person, you are Ghanaian, and you are from Ahafo, Kenya, say, Lithium, Kenya's number 1, number 2, then you are local. You are from the community. So that's the employer. They give them contracts. They give them a lot of things to do. And even the employees within the company itself, about 42% are Ghanaians, local people.
Is there a policy that guides the chamber when it comes to this? When it comes to local content, I know there is a policy. Is there a policy that guides the mining companies in terms of a percentage of their recruitment should come from indigenous or local, as long as they are well qualified to make your job description?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Newmont and other companies, almost around the 40-45% are locals. And sometimes they even have to train the people. They take them through apprenticeships, and then once you are qualified, then they will employ those they can employ. And those that are not employable by the company, they are given certificates of competency to also go out and look for jobs. So every mining company employs indigenous. There's no way you can work in the community without employing the people. No, it's gone were the days where mining started. You know, people were not mining oriented. So we didn't have the capacity or the human resource. But now we do have a lot of people who can work on the mines. And majority of them come from the local community. But you can't say that every employee 100% should come from the local. Otherwise, people in Accra also say the same. That I'm a Ghan, I need to, only Ghans should be employed. That also, it doesn't set a good precedent. But you employ majority as much as you can from the community. And the contracts are also given to community. Look, haulage, all catering, all security, all kinds of things are given to locals just to empower them. So there's a deliberate policy to bring the mines to the local communities, and that's what is being done.
I'll come back to the argument about how this is feeding into galamsey and whether it's a concern for even this whole argument about galamsey. But let's come back to a very important decision on the national level about when your members make profit. In the past, there's this argument that everything is sent abroad. What is the situation right now when it comes to the profits that your members of the mining companies make and whether they find their way back into this country?
So if we just take profit alone, I mean, you pay corporate tax based on profit. So I think it's about between 32 and 35%. So on the profit alone, 35% goes to the state. That's what the law says.
Okay.
So if you just take even profit alone, 35% goes to the state or 32%. So it can't be true that they keep everything out there. But let's bring the whole thing into mineral revenue. You see, your revenue includes your costs plus everything. So when you make money, when you sell and you get revenue, that is what becomes revenue. And that's why we say about 70% of that revenue comes back to the country. Anybody who says otherwise,
that is the reality. What is the
over
data
70%.
supporting that?
Look,
for instance, last year you brought in X amount of money for K1, you brought in X amount of money
it
supported by
is
data
GRA,
from the Bank
GRA,
of Ghana Revenue Authority.
you see, when the money comes in, it's not everything that goes to the Bank of Ghana. There's a portion that by law should go to Bank of Ghana. But then the others go to the commercial banks. So if you go to like EcoBank or like Stanbic or those things and find out from them that how much do they get from company A in a year, over 70% of mineral revenue that we get come back into the country to cover all kinds of costs.
And we can verify that from Ghana.
It's verifiable. I think it's even about 74%. It's about 74%. Look, for the past 10 years, mining revenue to the country was about $40 billion. Mining revenue, over 40, and about 22 billion of that stayed in this country. So when you talk about local content, all these suppliers, how do they pay them? All the electricity bills, the diesel, you understand, the PAYEs, the mineral royalties that they pay. Where do they get the money from? So sometimes I don't understand why
your members not holding this money in offshore accounts with their mother companies.
It's not possible. The Bank of Ghana will not allow that. It's not possible. The money's come back. Those that are supposed to stay for offshore, definitely, companies also have offshore obligations.
Yeah.
And it is transparent. You know what the offshore obligations are. Companies also have shareholders. If you're a shareholder in a company and the companies make profit, you need to make some of the money.
Dividend, yeah.
So all those that goes, the companies pay dividends. So if somebody says, as we see people, intelligent people, respected people, keep saying that companies keep everything below 10%, it can't be true.
Why if these things are being enforced to the letter, why is GRA not coming out to clarify these things? Why is Bank of Ghana not coming out? Maybe there's
I believe you should ask the Bank of Ghana.
But then why should they be keeping quiet when it is clear that all the mining firms stick to this obligation of bringing in about 70 or 74% of what they have earned in total revenue?
But GRA has the data. I mean, if you go to GRA, you find out. You can ask GRA a direct question. Why is it true or not? They will tell you how much mining company. They have it company by company, how much gold they made and how much they brought back. If we just start counting their PA, like things I count, is it 10%? Can you pay that? It's not possible. So when you find learned people who decide to just go one side of the argument and not look at the larger picture, if I look at just what goes to Bank of Ghana, maybe we can say about 20% thereabout. What about those that go to commercial banks? And I recently there was something on somebody, is a professor, I don't want to mention the name here because I don't have any the full facts. But the argument says that only 14% comes back. How possible? You know how much companies pay on diesel alone?
That person wouldn't make that argument based on just on hearsay. Could it be that some of your members are not fully complying with this?
All our members are fully compliant. All mining companies under the chamber are fully compliant. Those large-scale mining, they are all fully compliant. And the GRA will go at them. The Bank of Ghana will go at them. They know. Look, when we are doing the gold for oil, I mean, we're selling some of the gold to the Bank of Ghana. We bring the forex, the Bank of Ghana monitors all that. They know. So if somebody says that it's either mischief or, I don't know, just giving a dog a bad name and trying to hang it. Mining companies are responsible. We do what we're supposed to, and we do beyond. If the law says about 20%, they bring far more in excess of that. And it's not just 1 year, for a consistent number of periods. Because you can't survive in Ghana on just 10% of your revenue. I mean, it's not possible. George, you know, you're an economist or an editor of a business desk. At least, you should know. Just look at it. How much the new month pays salaries for employees? How much is it? For diesel, for power, for royalties, for other contractors, local content. much are they paying? For somebody to sit somewhere and just say that mining companies bring that. I mean, it is not fair.
Not to get
people need to be accurate with their facts.
Not to get into any specifics
Yes.
per se, but even if it's a round figure.
Yes.
For instance, last year, how much was brought back into the company based on the data that's available to you as a chamber from these mining companies?
Yeah, that you see, these are numbers that have to be very accurate and but otherwise, we can give you that information. You know, you see our annual report last year. You saw our annual report last year. That information is in there, clear in black and white. GRA has not come out to dispute that. Every year we publish our annual reports and we publish all those figures. We do something we call publish what you pay, where we indicate how much was received, how much came back, how much went to the state, how much went to local content, how much went to CSR. We publish all that annually. Nobody has ever come to take us say that this is not true, because it's true. We are looking for more. That's understandable. But let's not do as if because companies are not paying, that's why we're looking for more. We're just looking for more because we need more. We are a developing country. We need more revenue to develop. That's true. But then let's appreciate what we are doing. Let's appreciate the hen that's laying the golden egg and say, Madam Hen, can you lay more? How can we do for you to lay more? Should we give you more feed? Should we relax this for you? Should we give? Those are the things we're looking at, so that together we can have a sustainable mining industry that is keeping us going. You said that gold is the one that's keeping us going. Can you imagine if people decide not to invest and money should stop in Ghana? If money should stop in Ghana, what will happen?
There are some who've pushed that argument thinking that we are not getting what we are supposed to be getting from mining firms. And even the extremists have said that, can you shut all these mining companies down?
Yeah, you know, mining companies employ over 10,000 people. So you just tell them to go home and sleep. Is that what the person is saying? If your brother were working in the mine, or you have a mine, you're a company, you have a contract with the mine, Zen, Goyle, all the Gaso, Champion Oil, all those people supplying to the mines. You say the mining company is not paying enough, so we shut down all of them. What happens to them? Is that what the person is saying? You see, we have to be open-minded and realistic. I mean, some of the suggestions that we hear out there, we don't usually respond because, you know, it's not everybody who is well versed in the economics or in the business of mining. But we have some people who know what mining is, and there's always room to ask for more. There's always room for somebody to pay a little more, but then you have to be realistic about it. And companies are always open to dialogue and discussions as to how best they can continue to contribute more for their host communities and host countries.
So Nangtoma, when I come back, I'll be looking at what gold is doing right now for our currency, and even the argument about maybe this year might be an outlier, but if all these monies were coming back into the economy, if you had done your bit and they were staying in, why is it that sometimes in the past there were problems with our currency, but that could be a Bank of Ghana's answer. But do you also thought about that as well? And also, when it comes to selling of your gold right now, who are you selling your gold to? This is PM Express Business Edition, engaging the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines on argument that gold prices are hitting record levels. And maybe as a country, maybe as a host community, we should be getting more in terms of revenue. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we talk about gold prices and whether the country Ghana should be getting more in terms of revenue and taxes, engaging the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines on all these developments as well. I just wanted to find out, and I know this year might be a different situation, but if all these monies were coming into the country and they were staying in the country, it should have reflected on our currency. Maybe I should take it to the Bank of Ghana, but I'll still get your thoughts on this.
But George, you see, what has changed this year? I mean, everything is business as usual for many companies. They are producing and they are paying their taxes and they are doing what they've been doing over all these years, and the currency is stabilizing or is changing. That means there's something different. So that's why to me you ask the Bank of Ghana. But all these monies they've been consistently coming into this country to be used by the country. If you're looking for forests, where does the forest come in? Apart from what we get from maybe donor agencies, the bulk of it comes from mining companies. And mining is the leading forest exchange earner for this country, surpassing cocoa and oil. So when people say that we have not been bringing it back, it beats my mind. Why would you keep it? Because it's not. You don't need the money to be out there for you. You need the money to be working for you. Definitely dividends to state and to shareholders. Definitely, I mean, everybody goes into business for some profit. Yes, so definitely every business, even the local business, make profit. So companies, it's not a crime to make profit, right? So you do in business to make profit. You meet all your obligations. You do what is right by the law, by everything. If there's some left, that is profit for you. So, I mean, companies are doing a lot, and they continue to do a lot more. Look, we sell the gold to Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana is where that's where your question was going to come from.
And I'll come that. I mean, you look at all the criticisms against mining companies, and you sit back and you look at the numbers now and what Bank of Ghana is saying about their gold purchase program and how that has contributed to the current stability and even, in some cases, appreciation of the Ghana cedi. At the personal level and even at the chamber members, do you sit down and say, well, we were those who have been chastised. Now, our contribution is being felt in terms of the stability, even if it's not the appreciation argument, because of this whole purchase program the Bank of Ghana went on that way to buy more gold for mining firms to back our local currency.
Yes, Joyce, so we know. That's what the chamber has been saying all along. Mining companies are transparent, and they are willing, they work with government. And government is the one that brings the laws and all those things. So as when Bank of Ghana approached mining companies to sell some of the gold for them, nobody put, they said, oh great. So we needed to do that, we did. Oh great. So there's an agreement with the Bank of Ghana where they sell the gold to them, and then they're paid in cedis. Yeah.
You look at what has happened now, and do you think that it was a prudent thing to do? Because I knew that there were some, if it's not your members, who were a little bit apprehensive or they didn't buy this whole idea. But it went along, it has been enforced. We are seeing the benefit of that agreement as a major contributor to what is happening to the Ghana cedi now.
Yeah, so like I said, the Chamber of Mines, we are open to discussion. So definitely when the policy statement is made, everybody say, hey, what does it entail? But we're engaged by the Bank of Ghana. We had a full engagement session. Our finance people engaged, the production people engaged, the VPs, all the vice president and managers all engaged. The questions were asked. How is it going to be paid? Where is it going to be paid? In what currency? How? All those things were answered. Right? As a business, you want to stay in business. So if the person is there buying the gold and paying you as normal would have. So because look, you bring the dollars back into the country anyway when you make a sale. And then you then change some into cedis. So it's not all the money that you keep. So a bank of Ghana said, look, I'll buy the gold from you, but I'll pay you in Ghana in cedis. I'll pay you spot. I'll pay you based on transparency and let's agreement. Why not? We are willing to help. That's why I say that we are available and willing to help government to make mining a catalyst for development. I keep using the word a catalyst for development. So now that people are saying, I hope that they will come back and say, oh, chamber and your members, are you cool? But we are not getting that. We are still getting that more. We should take more because the gold price is there. That one.
Who should be saying that government stakeholders
yes.
or the academia or the analysts who are.
Like you have agreed that, look, we have seen that on the back of gold. By just saying gold, but the mining companies provide the gold. And something that we also miss that, we have small scale miners as well. And they produce 40% of the minerals that we sell. 40% of Ghana's mineral production comes from small scale mining. So all the 70%, the $40 billion I'm talking about, is largely large scale. Can you imagine if like the gold board captures all that and government even gets a tax on that? It's a whole lot of money. So I think that gold is doing well. Mining companies are doing their bit. But then look, we should, they say that give the devil his due. If companies have done well this time, we should acknowledge them. When companies have not done well, we'll say you're not doing well. But when they are doing well, they still keep quiet as if. That is where the chamber is saying that there should be dialogue and there should be open and transparency about how we can use our money.
I don't know about giving the devil his due, but let me come back to this gold purchase program. And I know that there was some pushback, but you entered into an agreement with the Bank of Ghana to sell your gold to the Bank of Ghana.
Some of the gold
to the Bank of Ghana. There's this whole gold board now in when it comes to the purchase of gold and everything kind of changing. As we speak right now, who are you selling your gold to? Is it still to the Bank of Ghana or to gold board?
It's still to the Bank of Ghana.
Why not the gold board?
Well, for us, we have the agreement with the Bank of Ghana. So we'll continue on that tangent. If the Bank of Ghana re-engages us or somebody else will engage and say that, look, now this is what's supposed to happen. We'll look at the detail. It's about selling to, whether we are selling to you, or we are selling to Kwesi, or we are selling to Amma. It's about selling the same gold and under the same kind of similar conditions. Why not? I mean, no, it's not about the gold board or Bank of Ghana. It's about, look, using some of Ghana's gold to shore up our currency. And companies are willing to sell to the right person under the right conditions.
So, I ask this question because some of your members are multinationals.
Yes.
And when it comes to some of these things, they are very particular about how things are done, the transparency and all those things. They might be okay with a bank of a country or a wholly owned state bank of a country doing this transaction. Gold board, just started its working. And that is why I'm looking at the feasibility on the switch and the agreement. Does it wholly transfer to gold board, or what if gold board comes today and also pushes a different agreement? And therefore, the question about the sustainability of this gold purchase program with the large mining firms and whether your members are open to enter into a fresh negotiations when it comes to who you sell your gold to, some of the gold, either still to the Bank of Ghana or to the gold board.
So like I said, currently we have an agreement with the Bank of Ghana, and that is what we are following. We haven't heard anything. We haven't been approached by anybody. We've heard about the gold board. We know what we thought was that we're buying from small-scale mining companies to buy from them, and that. If anything has changed, that's the dialogue. Like I say, the questions that we're asking here, that's the questions that will be asked. So how is it going to work? How is it going to operate? What are the terms and conditions? That is what will push the discussions forward. Without those details, I can't hazard a guess as to whether companies will be happy or not happy to switch or not switch. It depends on the switch. If I just switching it on and off seamless, it's normal because nobody likes disruptions and nobody likes sudden interjections. So if something has to be done, then there has to be a negotiation, a discussion, a detailed discussion over a period of time, answering everybody's questions. Because we're looking for transparency. We're all looking for the same thing, the sustainability of the industry as the country. So whatever we are doing, if it sustains the industry to continue to provide the forest and the goal for the country to also be sustainable, why not? Those are questions and discussions that we'll have when the time comes. But as of now, we know that our members are selling to the Bank of Ghana, and that's what we'll continue to do.
I believe that when there was a change in government, there are a lot of things that change among your members. I believe that your members are not waiting for the gold board to come and knock on your doors first. I believe that now there should be a position that what should we do if there's a call for us to review our agreement. That is what I'm trying to find out from you, that what is the chamber's position now when it comes to going forward and the selling of gold as well?
So if the call is made and the chamber is approached, we'll discuss it. As at now, we will have to conjecture what if they don't come? Or if they just come and say, look, we are inheriting Bank of Ghana or that. So for now, it will be difficult to say that we are going to say do this or that, we have a policy. We'll wait. We see the devil is in the detail. We'll wait to see the detail. Once we get the details, then we'll work with government to see what is feasible. Remember that the industry has to be sustainable to be able to continue this one. So if the thing will keep the industry sustainable and afloat, and like I said, transparency and above board, I mean, nobody would necessarily say anything. So that's why I say the details that will come out from wherever it comes, as a chamber and our members, we are open and we are transparent enough. We'll look at everything. And then the decision will be a collective, agreed, and sustainable decision.
There was a report going on, trying to be educated about the gold board itself when it comes to the during purchase and all the rest, coming a little bit about a percentage lower than what we know on the market as well. And this hasn't gone with some industry players who think that I may not sell my gold to them. And that's where it brings about this question again about if they try to review and even not buy on the spot market and all those things, that could come with some concerns.
Yes, definitely. That is the concern. But if they come with a concern and we have a discussion and they agree, we see it has to be an agreed position. So if they come with that, then we'll look at it and discuss it. But they haven't come with it. I know they've said it, but the target was more on other people who are not selling to the Bank of Ghana, including the other smaller ones. But we are already in agreement with the Bank of Ghana, and there's nobody's buying below a certain percentage. They are paying spot price for it. So we think that that's what should be maintained, is to provide transparency for everybody.
If I get from you that, I mean, if it comes to the sale of your gold, it has to do with the international spot price. and nothing else.
But that should be the thing.
I mean, there shouldn't be argument about, just like what was made in the past when it comes to the Jubilee oil. The argument was that let's get it to Tor, but Tor is a Ghanaian company, so let's step down a little bit, let's give it a concession because it's not an international firm. If that argument is being pushed for gold, but
who was selling to Tor?
Nobody was selling. I mean, the fact that sell Jubilee crude to Tor, but there were some who pushed back because they still wanted to sell it at the international price of crude oil.
Yeah, but that's a whole different scenario. So this will be a different scenario. So when it comes to us and it is placed, I mean, like I always say, the devil is in the detail. Depends on what the proposition that comes out. Then we'll look at it. Because we are looking at sustainability and viability. You can bring a proposition that will, if you are buying, just by chance, if you are buying below the spot price, so who is going to cover that difference? Is it a company? Is it a company? So if a company is already under stress, it's not all gold mine companies that seem to be making, companies already under stress. They are just up, and you are going to buy below. And we're already killing the company. So I said, do we want to kill the hen that's laying the egg? Or we want the hen to continue to grow, to lay more eggs? So we have to look at it in that picture. We understand that, look, the state needs money, the country needs money. But then it should be done in a sustainable manner. Otherwise, when the hen dies, there will be no more eggs.
I know government has been able to reach an agreement to extend this thing for 1 year when it comes to the issue between the government of Ghana and then the Goldfields mine issue. Do you think that we could have avoided this challenge? The whole drama about it? If I can use that expression.
Yeah, George, we issued a press statement at the early stages that, look, this thing should be avoided. There should be more dialogue. And there should be dialogue and let's talk more. But the government thought that, look, it's come to this end and they think that it should stop. And they did that. But we cautioned that, look, it could lead to all kinds of repercussions. The international reputation of the country. That, look, so a government can just come in and take your mine like that just because your lease has expired. Or is it because you have... So those are the things that we need transparency and we need some dialogue around it. But, I mean, in the end, we got some dialogue and then we got some transition period. And you see that everything has come to normal. That's why we're asking for, in the first place, let's sit down, let's look at what they are doing right, what can be done. And then gradually, if we want to turn it back to Ghanaians, that is something that we can do as Ghana. But we should remember that we've been there before. We had the state gold mining corporations. We had them. What happened? They all ran down. We had to do economic recovery program in 1981 for the PNDC law, whatever, 153. Because we ran it and we ran it down. So what are we going to do differently? How are we going to make sure that the new mine or whatever be run professionally? That's why as a chamber we say that we need to be cautious in all this so that we make sure that everything goes. Otherwise, we'll be a knee-jerk approach. And which was not good for the industry, but it might be too late. So a new government has come in. They have a policy. They want more Ghanaians in the industry. Why not? If you look around the mines, most of the MDs and the heads, they're all Ghanaians anyway.
But don't you think that, I mean, we believe that government is well informed. We believe the government has a more bigger data when they want to do the assessment. It comes back to the point that we've raised in the past discussion, this interview, about those who are thinking that we are still not getting more, even in terms of fresh investment in the space, even in the terms of having very qualified Ghanaians be in that space. And that was where, if you could use the word, as the hawks in government were pushing that, see, let's ramp up and press ahead with this, our indigenization policy, where majority of Ghanaians have a stake in this space. And that could even result in more of the retention being in the country. I believe that these are some of the things that was making a strong case and a justification that, see, their lease have ended, we are not going to renew it.
George, that's why I say, look, government can do that. I mean, the law is in the bosom of government. They can put all those things out there. But we're saying that dialogue, it's not just for that company.
But dialogue doesn't resolve the problem about certain wrongs in the industry.
But I said that
needs to be corrected.
No, but not just for that company alone. No. You are looking at the wider industry and the wider investment community. I mean, mining investment is volatile. People, that one, any misstep could, let's say, people move their resources, their wealth elsewhere. And let's know that these mining companies didn't use Ghanaian money. They took money from everywhere and brought it into the country. The same way people could decide, let's take our money from Ghana and take it to Nigeria or to Burkina Faso. And that's actually been happening in terms of exploration. So if we want to do that, they should be structured. People should be involved in that. If a company has done wrong and you want, then let them know what wrong the company has done. And then once you have those things in place, everybody understand. And in the end, what happened? They came back and there's a transition. And that's what we're asking for in the first place. So you didn't have to go all the way to the presidency. But no, he being the father of the land understands and sees the bigger picture. Say that, look, you two guys sit down, resolve this amicably, and take a process whereby at the end of the day, Ghana will look good. Otherwise, at the end of the day, Ghana will not look good. I'm a Ghanaian. We go out there, we go to Indaba, we go to PDAC, we go to Australia down under, looking for investors into the country. If you're an Australian, what happened to you?
Do you
the money that went to Ghana, now they're taking over. The perception was there that, oh, Ghana want to nationalize. But they came and said, look, Ghana is not nationalizing anything. This is a peculiar issue. And it stabilizes the market. That's why we're asking for. We're not saying we shouldn't take Ghanaians. Look, 98% of all the employees, 10,000 are Ghanaians. You go to a mining company and you don't see even a white guy there.
So can it be 100%?
But the machine, you see, the machine that's used for the mining is not made in Ghana.
Okay.
Definitely, the person who made the machine will have to bring an expert. If the machine breaks down,
technology transfer. Is that been strictly
of course. So
implemented?
Of course, but there are years. So after some time, you are supposed to give it back to Ghanaians, train Ghanaians. But for the first 5 years that the machine has come in, the person has to come with it. And it's Ghanaians. And also, we should invest in the mines. We should invest in the mines. FGR is looking for money to build a plant. Nobody say anything. They are going around heat gold fields. Now, suppose they go to Australia or Chile or Canada and go and get money and come and build the plant. They have to pay the money back. Once the mines start working, someone say, they're making money. They should tax them more. Why don't Ghanaians put our money into the mines? Why did Ghanaians put our money into the mines? So let's put the money into the mines. Then we can get a greater share, a fair share. So what government is going to do is in the right direction. But then you don't do the right thing the wrong way.
I get it that you support the whole push, the policy of ensuring that more Ghanaians in this space and ensuring that also improving retention. I mean, that you don't have any problem with that if I get from you.
No, I say that we want to use mining as a catalyst for development. If it is done properly and it will catalyze development, why not? But if it's not done properly and will kill everybody, then we'll caution. So ours is just providing the caution and say that let's look at it again because we've done it before. We've had Ghanaian-owned mines. They've all run down. I'm not blaming anybody for it, but they've run down. What can we do differently? Now we have a lot of GMs, a lot of general managers, a lot of mine managers who are Ghanaians. How are we going to manage what we have? Are we going to set up a company, private company? Is government going to run it? Are we going to put it on the stock exchange and say people should buy shares? We have to look at all that to make it sustainable.
I want some clarity when you were earlier speaking about investment and people pulling back and all that. In terms of foreign direct investment and fresh investment, have we seen a slowdown because of the uncertainty, the fiscal regime and policies like this? Are we seeing some of the investors moving to other countries, Burkina Faso and other? What is the situation right now when it comes to our ranking on attracting fresh investment into the mining space?
So, you see, to see mining, because a company that's already in country is already working.
Yeah.
So that ones, when the machine breaks down, they have to repair because they are in country and they are working. But if you look at that, we see that Newmont is developing a new mine. For $1 billion. There was a $100 billion mine they are doing there at Ahafo. There's a Cardinal just started. There's Azuma just also about to start. So, but you have to look at the exploration data.
So in terms of exploration
data, Ghana is not.
Why are we not getting?
You see, there's exploration is the lifeblood of mining. Now there's a VAT on exploration. You see, exploration is you are going to bring money, come and dig around or search for gold. If there's gold there, it can develop into a mine. If there's no gold there, then you close up and you go. So those people, they are risk takers. But they are paying VAT on assaying and drilling. And that's the highest cost of exploration. To assay what you have. So when you see them carrying, they take them elsewhere to go and assay. They pay electricity costs, they pay everything. And they're drilling as well. And they pay VAT on that. If they don't make a fine, VAT is input, output. If they don't make a fine, that is money lost. So can you imagine you put $10 million in exploration, you don't make a fine, and you have paid VAT on $10 million. So that VAT will not be given to you. It's money thrown down the drain. So we have been talking to government. Let's take the VAT out. so that that money can be put into, then we can drill deeper. The deeper you go and the larger you explore, the more you find. We got to a certain point where it nearly happened, but it didn't happen. Now there's government says that that's revenue they cannot forgo because they need all the revenue they can get. So now the new framework is that, okay, if I'm doing exploration, the VAT part of it should be deferred. So that when a find is made, the company that comes in and then is going to mine, once they start doing the mining, then it's the VAT paying position. It pays the VAT at the end of the day to get the refund. And if you put that burden on exploration companies, they are small junior companies. They don't have the muscle to do more. All they have is small money. That is why they'll go to a place like, say, Burkina or Cote d'Ivoire, where they don't pay VAT on those things. So we've seen a movement of exploration companies going there. So what we are dealing with currently, it takes time. So we might not see the impact today. But future, people say, let me be careful. Let's watch the space. So investors will be watching the space to see whether they will develop their tenements or not. So we're saying that if you remove the VAT or exploration or defer it, we'll bring more people back.
So in terms of exploration, we are struggling among our peers because of some of
these. Yes, so that's where you can see that whether it's investment in the sector or not.
So is it because production has ramped up? Because with all these problems, and I don't know the current Q1 data, we are still ranking among the top in the region. I stand to be corrected in terms of production of gold, right?
Yeah, because most of our mines...
We've been in South Africa, I stand to be corrected.
Yes, most of our mines are mature. Like Goldfields is mature, is producing what it's going to produce. Newmont, Ahafo, South is also working. You understand? Cardinal has come to add on. So other mines are on it, Asanko, Perseus. So they are producing. So that's where... So until a disruption happens, we are on an even keel. We are moving where we are. Until South Africa catches up or Mali catches up, we are on. But these things take time to manifest. So they take time to manifest. But the companies that are already in country will continue to produce. And as we keep adding more mining companies into the thing, we have more production.
Talking about
and the small scale mining as well. I told you about 40% comes from small scale mining. So if they do well, it also ramps up our production.
Let's talk about the lithium mine. I know that the delays as well. Is it a concern for the chamber as well?
Very big concern.
In terms of getting the parliamentary approval and the government not?
Very big concern. Look, lithium, last year, just before the election, when they wanted the thing ratified, the lease ratified, the lithium price was around $3,000 something. This year it's around $680. It's just falling like that in the world market. From $3,000 to $6,000. To 600.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? If we had signed it last year, it would have been 3,000. Now, if we sign it this year, it's going to be 600. So all the economics around the mine has to change. Even the royalty regime that you were locking in will all have to change. So they really have to look, using the new price and a few things to really look at it, and they should go to parliament. And it should be ratified as quickly as it can be done. Because even the communities themselves are already agitating because they were expecting some income, some community development agreement, and the company has put all things on the table saying that, look, they are willing to revise the numbers with the help of government, so at least they can pay the royalty that everybody's paying, and then the community development, they can lock it in. They can even have an agreement. So if the lithium price should go back to 3,000, then we can revisit. We can revisit. Otherwise, that would say the volatility of gold. So if we put taxes on, because the thing was 3,000, we put so much tax. Now the thing has come to 600. Are you going to start moving all the taxes? How? So that's why I say that we have to be cautious. And we've said it. And we hope that the company working through Minerals Commission, I know there are discussions going on, healthy discussions, through the minister, it will go to parliament as quickly as possible and to be ratified.
Let's look at sustainable mining. And how are all your members committed to this? Because we hear reports and again about there's been this and there's been that, there's been all those things. How committed are all your members to sustainable mining?
All our members are committed to sustainable mining, environmentally,
are we
and socially
responsible
mining.
We see a lot of things that pops up in the leaks and all those things.
The leaks?
The getting into the water bodies.
No,
they complain. They accuse your members.
Let's wait a minute. It's a mining company. It's a work in progress company. It has so many. You've been to a mine before.
Yeah.
So you see how vast the thing is. Occasionally, you could have missteps. You could have mishaps. If an accident, sometimes even there's an accident and you are fined. Companies have been fined For
you
accident.
call a spillage of cyanide into water
No.
as an accident?
So, yes. So it's the accident that will cause the spillage. The spillage is not. It's when the thing leaves where it's supposed to go into a different domain. That's where it has spilled. Within the mine, they have zero effluent discharge. No mining company will discharge anything into the environment. It goes to the TSF. All their waste goes to the TSF. And the water in the TSF is recycled for the mining. So there are a lot of pipes along the way. Pipes and dredges. Sometimes it can rain so heavily that the land can move, landslide, can shift the pipe. If it shifts the pipe and there's slurry in it, it will spill. But those ones are incidents and accidents. You have to report them and you have to mitigate them. And if you are found to be negligent, the Minerals Commission through IDMC will fine you. So nobody wants to be fined for that. So no mining company spill because that thing you are calling waste is full of cyanide. And it's full of cyanide. Sometimes there's gold in the cyanide. So companies don't spill into the environment. No, we don't wash anything into the environment. It's a zero effluent discharge. Everything is separate. So the water you see in the TSF is water that they pump back into the process plant to mill, process, take it back, and bring it back. So it's a closed loop.
So those things that happen where the mining communities will draw attention to, would you say that is just accident?
They're accidents because the pipes pass through a lot of things. Look, some are accidents, some are sabotage. We've seen where people
Interesting the bit about sabotage.
people have gone to cut liners. A liner that has been used to line a pipe. No, all the TSF that you see, most of them are lined with clay liner. So after they dig about 40 meters deep, you put a polyurethane liner, plastic liner under before you put the clay on top and compact it before you put the TSF on top. So for there to be a spill, then there have to be a breach. And there are also wells all around it. So you monitor the spill. But there are some pipes that carry the spill from the process plant to the TSF. Some pass through the bush, some pass through other places. We've seen where people have gone to cut the felt liners to go and use for roofing. You go to the village around and all the roof is made of felt liners. And those felt liners are mining companies' property that have been used to line so that if there's an accidental spill, it will stay within the embankment and go into the TSF. But people cut them. Sometimes people think that there's something, they can get gold from the slurry. So they go and puncture the pipe. And those are very thick pipes. So companies provide 24-hour security for all those things. So when there's a spill, they will usually observe. If they don't observe and it is reported, there are mitigation measures. There's a law, a regulation, the steps to follow. You have to follow it consciously. Otherwise, after investigation, if you are found culpable, you find a big fine. Some time ago, there was an accident on a mine where something dropped, and they said, the company should have reinforced it better. It was a contractor working for a mining company. That company was fined 7 million cedis or dollars thereabout.
What about blasting as well? That one too is an accident. Because there are some communities that will complain about the blast and how it's impacting on their houses, infrastructure as well. You
see, there are blast-induced vibrations. And some of the mine areas, unfortunately, the communities are very close to the mines. They are very close to the
Why
pits.
are they not relocated and
some places they relocate. The relocation process drags. Some people too will not relocate.
If it drags, then hold on to the money and make sure you finalize that before you do that.
Yeah, but that's why you work with government. So as we are working with government to see how best you can solve the situation. You can have vibrations or rock fall. Sometimes the rock can fly rock. So why it is done, it is properly investigated and mitigation measures are put in place. So that if the company is negligent there, the company will be held responsible and we fined. Or even forced to close down.
As you wrap up on this discussion, let's look at how best we can deal with the canker of Galamsey, because we first thought it was a political challenge, but several examples have shown that it is still a problem. And that's come back to my problem about if more people in the local community are employed, there's some who think that it could help address this problem. From the Chamber's perspective, is it about punishing the corporates, getting more tough on the corporates? How do we get around this challenge of Galamsey, or maybe still ceding a part of the concessions to small-scale miners and all the rest? From the Chamber's perspective, what should be the one kill to help minimize? We cannot totally eliminate, just like poverty, Galamsey.
Well, this is a question that always everybody will ask. There's enforcement is one of them. For instance, somebody go into a river body. He hasn't got a permit. He hasn't got a license. He sees a river body. It is there. He believes that there's gold in it. He puts an excavator or a champagne machine and he's mining. That kind of person. He's not broke. The excavators that some of them use, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get 5, 6, they can go and have 10 excavators within one pit. How much one excavator cost? Over $100,000. So about $1 million that they are using to do. So it's enforcement. Maybe they want to do it. Nobody's enforcing them to do the right thing. Because sometimes they are protected. Once you enforce, you have to arrest. You arrest people and the protection comes and they have to let go. We all saw the story of Akunta mining, how it's gone and it's come back. So for that one, would you say it's because Akunta mining people or those people, what is the issue? You know, they've gone to court, they're saying this and that. There's a whole lot of stories around them. So those things, is it about poverty? It's not. It's not. We have other indigenous in the communities who also have been doing artisanal mining from days past. Some of them can still do the artisanal mining. But now the way you have people bringing huge excavators into a community. And sometimes the people who are doing the thing are not even local natives. They come from all over the place and they are found there. So there's enforcement is one of it. And also carving out small scale, doing exploration and carving out areas for small scale mining. So that small scale miners are regulated. They can do. And see, we can't all not be doing mining. I mean, to get to a point that the ground be saturated, there will still be people. So if it says seed, a company can only seed back to the Minerals Commission. If I have a concession and I have a 20-year lifespan, I start from point A. In 20 years, if I'm going underground, I go underground. Otherwise, maybe I have to go to point B. If I'm going to be in point B in 10 years, now I'm not there, I'll go there. And you say I should give that one out to people to do the mining. That means the mine life has already been cut short. Because 10 years, that place won't be available. So that's why I say that there should be proper exploration. If a company thinks that it doesn't need this place, it will cede to the Minerals Commission. Minerals Commission will go and investigate the place. If it is viable for mining, give it to small-scale miners. Otherwise, if I cede a portion that I don't want, they give it to small-scale miners, and there's no gold there, it won't solve the problem.
This is the Minerals Commission that is trying to bring in a mechanism of tracking these excavators and all those things.
Yeah.
Do you think that all those short interim measures could help with the situation?
Yes, we see, like I said, we are looking for solutions. Every little bit that we think. Some of the excavators can be tracked. So if you know where it is, then you know whether it's on its concession or it is moving. But maybe there are some excavators that are already in this country that they have not been tracked. So we have to put all kinds of things. The enforcement is there. The sustainable livelihood issues are there as well. And also people just wanting a job to do and they want to be miners. Let's help them do small-scale mining because we support licensed, regulated, legal small-scale
Some will add the
because
political wall as well.
Yes, that's a given because that's the enforcement. You need a political will to enforce it. It's a given that, look, mining is a lucrative activity for Ghanaians. But if you're not regulated, the water that is being polluted, it affects everybody. If they put chemicals in the streams, the fish that swims and you eat the fish, you can have mercury in them. So all those things have to be looked at, the livelihood, the health impact. But then there should be enforcement. Those who are doing it wrongly, it's just like in Accra, Trotro student park, they are parking where they are parking. But everybody's looking at. See, you see every small space, open space in Ghana now has a kiosk. There's
a discipline issue.
There's a discipline issue as well.
There's
a discipline issue as well. So that is something that we have to look at and continue to look at the discipline issue in addition to the livelihood issues. Then we can have a situation where all the mining companies, small-scale, large-scale mining, will operate in an environmentally and a socially responsible manner. Because if a small-scale mining also works in that manner, the community will have jobs to do, the money stays in the community. And otherwise, most often than not, they bring international observers or people, participants, and they come in and they give them the money and they do everything that they have to do. So I think that enforcement is there, education is there, and all those things have to be factored.
Ndoma, I appreciate your time so much, and I know that we will come back again to see how all these things.
But let's talk about the WAMPEX, West African Mining Power Expo.
Why
that's
are you
the
doing,
largest.
Why,
that's the largest and the longest lasting.
So why do it? I mean, some are saying that what is the whole benefit of this to the economy?
That's where ideas come from. That's where innovation. No, other people are coming exhibitors. They are bringing more innovative equipment, more innovative ideas as to how we can continue to use mining properly. I mean, no man is an island, and we don't have the technology here.
More fresh technology,
fresh ideas,
mining properly
in a responsible manner. Even look at the whole Ghana is full of gold. Until recently, we had that technology of the other things. There was a lot of gold. So we need more ideas, more people, and bringing more investors into the country. And also, look, people come and see our country, and they spend money in this country. Everybody coming in is going to spend some kind of money in this country. And we've been doing this for the past 34 years. And now it's even become annual. And this year, we're going to have over 200 exhibitors from all around the globe exhibiting mining-related technology, the technical ones, the social ones, and innovations as well. All that will happen between 28th and 30th of May at the Accra International Conference Center. And then you are invited to come.
And for you think that, again, in terms of getting the right ideas, getting the right skill set and the right technology,
yes,
this could be the way?
It's one of the ways.
Could it be a Ghana in Indaba?
Exactly what it is. Look, I always say that, look, in this world of mining, we go to Indaba, which happens in February. From Indaba, we go to PDAC, that's Canada. Toronto, all the way in the cold, minus 20 degrees. Everybody from Africa is in that place. They go to Australia down and they're looking for investors. Now, we are calling them here ourselves. We are not going to talk to them in their home countries. We've talked to them. We are inviting them to come to Ghana, see our beautiful country, meet our beautiful people, and then invest in this country in a responsible manner. When they come, they will spend money. They will stay in hotels. They will pay taxes. All is spending money in Ghana. So mining and tourism also can be very related. That's why I say mining is a catalyst for development, whether it's tourism, whether it's health. We have hospitals, we have schools, we have all that. All those technology will be in Ghana.
I know that debate will still go on about what mining is really bringing to this company or this country, if I could say, and whether we can get more as well. Engaging the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Agnek Toma, on the rising prices of gold on the international market and whether Ghana as a country and even the stakeholders and even the host community can be getting more from this. My name is George Afia, being your host for PM Express Business Edition. Have a great day.